Hey everyone, Random Randy here. This is going to be a little video that's going to show you all of the inventory that this evening I'm going to have the super fun task of putting tags on. Because although the craft fair show, event, whatever you want to call it, is a little under 2 weeks away, I want to get everything I have done now tagged so that when it's probably the night before, I can finish tagging whatever I make between now and then. That way I'll have less to do, less stress at the last moment, less likely to stab myself in the finger with the tagging gun. And if you've ever worked with a tagging gun, you know that it does occasionally happen and those suckers are sharp. So yeah. Anyway, I'm going to show you the tags that I print out and cut myself. So this is my kitty cat Nurgle. He likes to help, especially since I'm sitting on the floor to do this. Because as you can see, right here, I have 5 bins pretty much full of stuff. I also have a stack of stuff on this side of me that isn't in the frame right now. And it's, like I said, when I went through and cleaned the closet, I discovered I have a lot more stuff than I thought I did, which is really weird. I guess you just don't realize it when you just make something, finish it off, toss it in a bag, chuck it in the closet. If you're not looking at it, you forget it's there. And I am wearing my movie night cozy cardigan. I can never remember the name of this pattern, and that's so horrible. It's a granny square shrug. I'll link the pattern to it down in the description box below the video. Anyway, I'm going to jump right into the stuff that I am using to take care of the tagging, and then I'm going to show you all the stuff I've got to put tags on. And I am super glad that I actually got the 1,000 quantity of the little actual plastic barbs for the tag gun, because I have a lot of stuff. This is a wild Randy in her natural state here. There's no face on because I wasn't really planning on filming, and then I decided I didn't want to bother putting my makeup on. So if I look exhausted, it's because I've only been sleeping about 4 hours a night, so there's that. Anyway, I'm going to show you the tags that I found a blank template for them online, and I usually just print them out on cardstock. I found a really neat vector online that looked like a heart made out of yarn with a crochet hook through it, so I altered the color of everything on it because that's what I do. And it's stock art, but yes, I did pay for it. I have my business name, I have my Etsy shop website, I have a blank space for me to write in what size the item is. I have materials, and then down here I have care instructions. And this space on the bottom under the bar is where I write in how much the item costs. I do it that way so if somebody buys something and they want it to be a gift, they can just snip the bottom right off of the tag, just like you would with anything at a department store. Mine just isn't perforated. I worked retail for a really, really long time, by the way, so I've seen more than my fair share of price tags. Usually I print them on cardstock because it's a little heftier, but my printer had a senior moment and printed from the underneath tray rather than the rear tray where I had all of my cardstock sitting. So this was my test page to make sure everything was lined up and happy. I just did all of this in Photoshop. And I actually have a paper cutter that I'm going to use to get the basic shape of all of these, get them separated, and then I just trim the tops so it actually looks like a tag. So it has that professional touch. And I still need to update all of my signs with my YouTube channel and all that nonsense, which I haven't done yet. This thing right here is a tagging gun. If you have ever purchased an item of clothing from a retail store or online, for the most part, if it's got a tag attached to it and it has one of these annoying little plastic thingers on it that you have to cut if you don't want to destroy the item that you're taking it off of, then somebody at some point, whether it was a machine or a human, used a tagging gun very similar to this one. I got this on Amazon for, I want to say, $11 maybe, and it came with 1,000 of the barbs. That's what they call the little plastic things. So this has the needle in it, and if it doesn't have the needle attached already, because obviously it's still in the plastic, I just got it today. But you put the needle into the end of the gun, you stick the barbs into the top, and you just squeeze the trigger, and it pops the little plastic bits out. So that's what I'm going to be using to attach all of my tags, and it's going to make it significantly easier than tying them on, because I did that for the craft show I did in December last year, and it made me want to rip my hair out. But I had enough different things and enough different fiber types that I didn't feel comfortable just making a sign that said, you know, hats are this much, these pieces are this much. So it's a lot easier for me to deal with my very particular retail manager brain. Everything must be tagged just so, or it's the end of the flipping universe. I'll just leave it at that. It's a lot easier for me to have this. And I do have a few items that are wool acrylic blends, so I'm going to be printing out a separate page of tags for those that says that the fiber content is obviously wool and acrylic, so anyone with allergies will know not to touch it. Anybody who is even sensitive to wool will know not to go near it. I actually have all of my wool items separate from my acrylic stuff, so I don't have to worry about anything cross-contaminating for people who do have a severe allergy. So if I can find the link to where I got the tag templates from, I will also link that in the description box below. I'm pretty sure it was just a free PDF that somebody had. So now to dive into the stuff. Oh, where should I start? Oh, we'll start with this one, since this one is especially full. Alright, so I'm not going to go into a super lot of detail like yarn types or anything. Just know that unless I say it's wool, everything I'm showing you is made with acrylic. Because if I go into detail about every single piece, we're going to be here for like 2 hours. And I know nobody wants to sit through that much of a show and tell. So here we go. This is rosy wrap that I made for my tutorial. This is adult sized. This is a puff stitch hat that is, I would say, teen to small adult. It's not super comfortable for me. It's a little bit too tight, a little bit too snug for my liking, but my older son Hunter seemed to love it. Cthulhu hat. I have a lot of this green yarn that I need to be making into more of these after I finish up the shawlette scarf thing that I'm going to be attempting tonight. I'm going to be diving into mass making a couple of those. I don't know where the kitty went, buddy. So this is a slouch hat that I actually made in my tutorial on how to make an ultimate slouch beanie. This is a puff stitch ponytail messy bun hat. Why are you putting that behind your sunglasses, you weirdo? This is the kitty ear slouch beanie that I made, also in tutorial. This is a teen-sized, chunky, just hat. Oh, I need your sunglasses on. There. Do I look cool now? Cool. Here you go, buddy. So this is just a men's basic, back where I'm from we would just call it a toque, but I suppose that people who aren't from places near Canada would call it a beanie or a skull cap. This is a hat that I made a long time ago. This was an experiment. It's a chunky granny stitch hat that's done with 2 strands held together. And as you can see, the way that I did my tags last year, it's tied on with a little piece of string. And to say that it was a pain in the butt to tie it on with a piece of string, and that's my old tag design, by the way, that I didn't really like. But to say that tying it on like that was a pain in the butt would be an understatement. So tag gun it is. This is something that I'm considering making a few more of to take with me. It is a slouchy Pokeball beanie. Okay. Also from last year. This is obvious by the tag. This I need to take out of here because this isn't going anywhere. But remember how I said a long time ago I used to make fleece hats and they paid for my groceries? Okay, sit here and help me. Apparently Killian's gonna help me now. So I said that a long time ago I used to make fleece hats and they paid for my groceries. Yeah, buddy, those are your glasses. Well, this zombie kitty hat, I made enough of these and a few other animal shaped hats that it paid for my food when I didn't have enough money for food because wages in New York are just that fantastic.
Hello, someone.
Hello, someone. This is a super slouchy hat that I made. That is, in my opinion, entirely too big for the average human being, but whatever. Because it's a one-off misfit, I can probably offload it for hyper cheap because somebody will want it. This is a much more form-fitting version of it. Slouch. Normal hat. Little hat with a pom-pom and an alternating brim.
Biggie, Waddy, the daddy slack.
Yeah, buddy.
So we open.
This is a rosy wrap that I made before the show last year, so I've actually had that pattern chilling around for quite a while. This is a chunky kitty ear hat that has sparkles in it. That pile of stuff is huge. This is another kitty ear hat that's made with Red Heart bonbon print. So this hat I called the Mystic Slouch. This was made with some Red Heart yarn that's like a mix of wool and nylon and a bunch of other fibers. And if the camera is shaking, that's because Killian's sitting behind it and won't leave the room and I'm getting ready to kick him out. But yeah, it has a lot of different stuff going on in it. Also have a ski mask that lost its tag somewhere that I made with scarfy yarn. So this is partly wool, but this is made to fit and adult, unisex adult, but it's a little bit bigger, so more geared towards a man. And this is the hat I was looking for the other day. That is the adjustable cowl ponytail hat beanie. This is also made with scarfy, so this does have wool in it. Set those to the side. And that is all of the first bin. So bin 2 is all kid-sized stuff, kid and baby stuff. And I don't know why this random loom knitted hat is in there. Oh, because this is supposed to be adult sized, but it doesn't stretch very much, so I figured I'd list this as a large child, small adult maybe, but it definitely doesn't fit me. And this is partly wool, so that goes there. This is also partly wool, but this is a toddler hat that I made. It was one of the first hats that I made. It's super stretchy. Super, super stretchy. And it's actually knitted. I don't knit very much. Oh, I have a Genius headband that I made with some scrap. This is a 2-week to 3 months, I want to say, size. So that obviously needs a tag. This was just a test that I did once. This is supposed to be a preemie sized hat. And this is made with really annoying to work with Sirdar bubbly yarn, which I am 100% not a fan of. It looks really cute. It's got nylon in it, so it's super, super stretchy.
Aww.
Yeah, isn't it tiny? Look how little that hat is. Could you imagine a baby being small enough for that to fit on them?
Yeah.
Super, super small.
I couldn't.
So I have a stack of newborn sized hats made with some of the Hirschner's holiday yarn. I'm actually going to put pom-poms on these because with them being plain as they are, people looked at them a lot when I had them at the show last year, but nobody really seemed to give them the time of day. And they are in white and red and green. They're all the same size. They're all newborn. There's those. Have this, which is small adult / big toddler sized. This actually fits Hunter. It's just a plain black beanie with a ribbed brim. This is also supposed to be a newborn sized hat made out of the bubbly yarn, which I hate working with. I have a whole box full of it and I don't know what the hell I'm gonna do with it. This I actually need to finish. This has been sitting unfinished for quite some time. This is the start of a fox ear flap hat. Hunter has one that matches it that I made, and it was one of the first things that I started selling on Etsy were hats like this. And he still can actually wear it even though I made it for him quite some time ago because I used such a big hook. Even though it's worsted weight yarn, it is very, very, very stretchy. So that needs ears. I'll put that with the needs work pile. Where did I put those other ones? There they are. All right, needs work pile. This is a newborn baby kitty ear hat. This is a 3 to 6 months baby hat. This is a newborn ear flap hat with a little pom-pom on top. And then buried in the bottom here I have some random crocheted flowers that I've made that I don't know if I was planning to attach them to hats or what, but they're buried in here, so I'm just gonna pretend they're not there for now. Just gonna put them back. So that is all of the baby stuff. As you can see, I don't really have a lot. I am gonna be making some more baby hats. Maybe a few loveys. I have plans to make a few, but I don't know if I'm actually going to get to because I have so much other crap I need to do. I'm trying to focus on getting one thing done before moving on to the next disaster rather than halfway doing all of the jobs. I'm going to get one thing completely done, then move on to the next one. Since we're doing hats, might as well finish up this other bin of hats. These are all adult-sized hats. This is the Sexy Devil hat that I made that has the black horns. This is the convertible cowl / regular beanie / ponytail hat that I made. One of them. This is the Sexy Devil hat that I'm usually wearing that I will probably end up keeping just because I've kind of become attached to it. But I do have another blank one that just needs the horns added onto it. I need to make a bunch of horns so that I can make ear clips, not ear clips, so that I can make hair clips and add them onto the other hats that I was planning to add them to. This I'm going to end up putting just a pom-pom on top because I feel like the top of it is too tight to actually pull hair through without causing damage.
Look at my picture.
So this is just a regular slouch hat.
What?
It looks like a cupcake. What, buddy?
This was cool.
That is pretty neat. All right, go ahead, go on.
Look how fast my shoe did move.
This is just a potentially wear it as a slouch, wear it however you want, because I didn't even bother putting a brim on it hat. Kind of reminds me of Tetris with the way the color blocks are in it, but it could definitely go as a pride hat as well. This one in my Etsy shop online, I call it the Joker slouch, because if you've ever seen old school 90s DC Comics Joker from the Batman series, these colors scream Joker very, very much. The green and the purple and the black. Yeah. This one I need to put in the wool pile. Yeah, this is a small adult head hugging beanie. If I can get the camera to focus. There we go. And this yarn is actually Stitch Studio by Nicole, because back in Maryland we had AC Moore. That's not something that they have over here in Washington. But yeah, this is an acrylic wool blend, and it has a bunch of these dark gem tone colors in it that sort of stripe, which I really, really thought looked nice. Apparently nobody at the show did last year. This is the only cabled hat that I have ever made, and this is made with homespun from Lion Brand. I don't know if I can get it to actually focus on the detail at all. There we go. But yeah, this was made with Prairie Fire homespun yarn. It's one of the first hats I knitted. It is also cabled because I am a glutton for punishment. And I feel like when most people learn how to knit, they want to learn how to knit cables. And it actually turned out pretty nice. I found that it's easier for me to work with homespun knitting it than it is crocheting it, unless I'm using a giant hook. Hi, kitty cat. This is another Pokeball hat. This one is more of a regular beanie style. It's not a slouch. Don't worry, there's more. Oh look, it's my favorite, Blacklight yarn. This is just a brimmed hat. It has a really, really long brim, so you could roll it down and wear it slouched if you wanted to, or you can roll it up and wear it like a regular toque. I'm just gonna call it toque because that's what we call them where I'm from. It's so much easier for me to say it than to say beanie. I don't know why. But here is another just regular slouch hat. I really love the way that the colors in it kind of swirled. This was a Big Twist premium yarn, I believe. Lord, how many of these do I have buried in here? So this is a ponytail messy bun hat that I made last year. That's still just sitting here because I never posted it on Etsy. After the craft fair last year, I was like, I'm gonna post all this stuff on Etsy that I didn't sell at the show, and I never did, because taking pictures and posting stuff is such a pain in the butt. Anyway, this is made with the same yarn as the other one. It's Stitch Studio by Nicole. Just your run-of-the-mill messy bun hat. It's part wool, so I'm going to toss it up there. I have just a plain toque that you can roll up the brim onto wear it, or you can wear it slouchy style, or like I do, which is part of the reason I like slouchy hats. I prefer to not have to take my hair down when I have it up in a clip. And this way I can just put it right on over my hair and not have to mess with it and have special funky hat hair. But this is a wool acrylic blend. Apparently I have more partial wool hats than I thought I did. This is another octopus hat. This is an albino octopus hat, which looks kind of creepy and menacing compared to the green one. This is another messy bun hat. This is made in the Hirschner's holiday yarn. Another chunky hat that you can wear slouched or rolled, however you would prefer. I've gotten into all of the chunky hats here. A half red, half black chunky hat, because after making I made a kitty-eared hat with the red, and that was what I had left, and I made this hat with the black, and what I had left over I just combined together to make this, which, in line with all of my other Joker and Harley Quinn stuff, the red and black split down the middle reminded me of Harley Quinn. So that is hat bin number 2, and I actually have more hats that aren't even in the bin yet that I'm going to show you too. Good Lord. Ridiculous. Get that over there out of the way. Ugh. Oh, what should we do next? All right, tops. These 2 bins that I have are tops, and then I have mostly the stuff that I've showed off in my yarn talks for the last 2 episodes. So this is a crop top overshirt that I made, crop top, tank top, made with Red Heart Super Saver blacklight yarn. As we know, I love blacklight yarn. This is actually my own design that I really need to go through and look right quick and reverse engineer myself a pattern, because I never wrote down how I did this, because apparently I'm a dummy. So there's that. This is a net cover-up crop top that I need to apparently weave an end in a little bit better because it's sticking off the side. But anyway, it's made with Americana, and it's just done in a fishnet style mesh because it's meant to be just, you know, cover up like if you were at the beach, or if it was summer, or if you just live somewhere where it's hot. This, after much debating, I have decided I am going to attempt to sell this, and considering the hippie nature of this event, hopefully I'll be able to get rid of it. This is a very large boho circle jacket, which I actually, the pattern for this, I want to say was from the All Crafts channel, maybe. I know where the pattern is, and I will link it in the description box below, because I can't remember for sure, but I'm pretty sure that's where I got it from. But this is definitely adult sized, and this is so many different types of yarn. What I ended up doing to get it to stripe with the colors like this, rather than using Karen cakes, because that's what the pattern called for, and I thought wool for an open summery jacket was really foolish. I went and took a bunch of different balls of yarn. I measured out about 25 to 30 grams of each, made separate balls out of all of them, and then just rush and joined the ends together how I wanted the colors to work up, and wound probably 3 or 4 of them all together into one cake, and then tried to alternate colors slightly in the next one, and just kept tying it together until I used it all up. So there's one down. All right, this is my bin crop tops and bikini tops and bralettes, that some of which are fails in my opinion, some of them are not so bad. So I'm not going to tell you which ones I think are horrid. You can draw your own conclusions, because honestly, everybody has different tastes. So what I think is positively hideous, somebody might love to death and would sell their firstborn child for. Who knows? This is what I call the unfettered bralette. It is just a standard cups, and then I have some mesh in between. There we go. That looks really neat. And that's made with acrylic. This is what I call my typical 90s style halter top. You know, one of the ones that actually goes down below your ribs and actually covers your goodies. Yeah, buddy.
On ABC Mouse, you can play any game you want.
There are a whole bunch of games on there you can play, you're right. This is another 90s style halter top, but it's made in the same yarn that I used for the Joker slouch. This one's actually made with cotton. This is just, it's kind of, okay Hunter, can you please be quiet, sweetie? Thank you. It's kind of hard to display it without it being on, you know, a body that has shape and form and gravity. But yeah, this is this top. I was actually testing out different types of stitches, and that's some sort of a shell stitch on the bottom there that I found in a chart when I was learning how to read charts. This is another bralette. This is for somebody who's a bit bustier. I'd say this is probably a C, D cup size. It has some kind of mesh detailing and trebles along the bottom. This is a different type of cup style that I was experimenting with. It's actually a granny triangle motif that starts with a circle in the middle. And this is something that you would probably want to have lined. And I actually do also have swimsuit lining fabric. So if anybody ever wanted to order something like this from me, I have that as an add-on in my Etsy shop. Just saying. This was an experiment that I did with scrap yarn that I actually liked the way that it turned out. Maybe sometime I'll write it up in pattern form. But this is a top made completely out of a giant granny square turned on its side. It just ties in the back, ties at the neck, but this is just made with various green and teal scraps that I had. This yellow green in the middle is actually the yarn that I usually use for my Cthulhu hats. This is a club style top that I made. So it has all this neat mesh detailing that goes from the top of your cleavage up to your neck. And you're all covered here, and it has a corset lace up back. This is another bralette top made with some weird old red heart that came in a surprise pack from Hirschner's. This is a crop top pattern that I apparently never finished weaving the ends in on. Bad me. But this is one of those funky ones where the cups are turned sideways. A bikini top that I made with super long straps so that you can actually wrap it around your midriff and cross it over. This is something else I was experimenting with a long time ago. Wow, that is totally blown out. Anyway, that's Red Heart Super Saver Glowworm. And the bottom part is a black, some sort of a fan stitch. I can't quite tell looking at it. It looks like an extended V-stitch actually, but instead of just having 2, there's 4. There's that. And this is actually from a paid for pattern. I can't remember what the designer called it, but I called it the Acacia top. And this is made with some of the leftover bits from the giant hippie Stevie Nicks style jacket. And I liked the way that this worked out, but I'm just, I don't know. The pattern was more of a pain to follow than I expected for a paid for pattern, so I think I was kind of disappointed in that aspect of it. That is the last bin, but I still have another pile of stuff. Let's see if I can get through it before the camera runs out. Warp speed. This, I actually knitted this. This is with that horrible ruffle sachet yarn from Red Heart, and it's orange and black. I've had it for a million years. This is fairly short, but I figured that since it's, you know, fall, maybe I'll get lucky and I can offload it on somebody. Here's hoping, right? I have 2 more Genius headbands that are adult sized. This is with the Hirschner's holiday yarn with the silver thread through it. This is with the rest of the cupcake confetti. I have a slouch hat in the white and sequins holiday version of the Hirschner's yarn. I have one in the green. And I have one in the other red with just the silver thread with no sequins. I've been busy because I don't think that you guys got to see the Genius headbands or those particular slouch hats just yet. This is a scarf pattern that I made a million years ago. It's very thick. This, I might end up reclaiming the yarn from this and making something else because I don't have the right kind of buttons for it and I really didn't like the way it worked out, but this is supposed to be one of those little side button cowls that does one of these dealies that you put on and stuff under your jacket. It's with the white sparkly chunky yarn. This is one of those cool twisted Mobius cowls that always looks like it's crossed over because of the way it's put together. I didn't end up liking it as much as I thought I would. Maybe it's because it was so wide. I probably would have wanted it to be closer to my neck circumference rather than it being so large, because it's not quite big enough to double over and put around your neck. So it didn't really work for me. Knitted gloves, which I should actually wash, so maybe they'll soften up, because this is made with old Red Heart Blacklight and this is pretty scratchy. These are little fingerless gloves. As you can see, I've got them safety pinned together so they don't get separated. And I actually made a quick double crochet mitten pattern that I tested with a few people last year that I actually have up on Ravelry. It is a free pattern and I will link to that, and maybe I'll make a tutorial for it in the future if people are interested. But honestly, there are so many tutorials for easy mittens that I don't know if I'll bother. But anyway, double crochet mittens with a ribbed cuff, which probably should have been a few longer, which I think I corrected in the next pair. I was really just using up bits and ends of yarn to put them together. That's another pair. And this is another pair with Mexicana, which is actually the yarn that I finished my first big project in ever. I made 2 giant granny squares and seamed them together and gave it to my mom as an Afghan for a Christmas present because she taught me to crochet, and I actually found the giant bag that had it in it after we moved. It was in Maryland was when I finished it up and sent it to her. But I found it just buried in a box of craft stuff once I started really getting back into crocheting, and I was like, well, it only makes sense to give it to Mom since she taught me. Anyway, just about done, I promise. Holy crap, there's a ton of stuff here. Anyway, all of the other stuff that I have right now is mostly the things that I've shown you in the last few episodes of Yarn Talk. Maybe I can hold them all up. There we go, because I have giant hands. So there's the 3 candy corn amigurumi with faces. I've still only got these little 2 that are faceless. I do plan to make more of these. I may also make a few candy corn style hats, maybe in puff stitch. I'm really digging puff stitch lately. I don't know why. Whatever. Puff stitch forever. These are some boho style open mesh headscarves that you could also wear around your neck. But there's this one, and it's going to be really easy to have a couple of these on the table because they work up so fast. I actually got the pattern for this. I can't remember what it's called, but it is a pattern by Sarah Satch from Posh Pooch Design. She's also on YouTube, so I will link to the video for that. It's super easy. And I made another one in pink camo when I still had some left, which I am 90% sure I finally used up the last of my pink camo. But this is just an easy mesh design. It's so quick, and if you have a decent sized scrap of yarn, not itty bitty scrap, but like that leftover piece of Red Heart Super Saver after you've done a hat, you could definitely make one of these with it. Last few things. Little voodoo doll amigurumi that I made, which is probably going to be a one of a kind because I found another pattern that is much quicker and uses much less yarn and is slightly smaller, so it'll be one of those lower price point gateway items to get people to come look at the rest of the stuff. Hopefully. Happy thoughts, right? Face scrubbies / dish scrubbies. I still have to make the red and purple ones. Full-sized washcloths. and my funky little leftover scrap yarn bit coffee cozies. And I am making another scrap ball with all my leftovers from everything I'm making now, so I might actually be able to have a few more of these before the show, and I'm planning on making a few coffee cozies with appliques on them. Probably just like pumpkins, maybe a cat or a bat or fangs or something. I don't even know yet. Isn't that horrible? I'm like, I'm gonna do all these things. I don't know what exactly, but I'm gonna make it happen because that's what I do. That's what I do. I crochet and I know things. So that's all I've got. That is an insane amount of stuff. So anything that doesn't end up selling at the show, which I'm really, really hoping that I can get rid of a decent chunk of stuff. Anything that doesn't sell at the show, I will end up listing in my Etsy shop because now it's early enough before the holiday gift giving season that hopefully having all of this stuff filling my shop will boost my view rate, which will hopefully boost my sale rate. Happy thoughts. Oh, and the one other thing that I did that I actually finished up this morning, this is a fleece blanket, and by blanket I mean it's a large piece of fleece that I originally bought to make myself a fleece vest with and just never got around to sewing it. I used a skip blade around the edge to make all the holes, and then I just used some Red Heart with Love and crocheted a border all the way around it for a few rows. So that is now actually a blanket. It's about 2 yards long. I think I have to measure it so I have exact dimensions for when I sell it so I can price it properly. But I have a lot of other fleece in my closet and I'm really thinking of doing some of these to also have on the table. And I found out that apparently even though the table fee was pretty hefty, apparently we also need to have an item for the raffle, so I have to figure out what I'm gonna do for that. I found a really cool scarf design. It's called the Black Magic Scarf or Shawl, I can't quite remember, by Selena Baca. It is a paid for pattern, but I picked it up on Ravelry in a pack with a bunch of other patterns. It was $7 for the pack, or it was $4.99 for just the single pattern, so it made a lot more sense to me to pay $3 more, well, $2 more, because it was $6.97 as opposed to $4.99. Anyway, it made a lot more sense to pay the extra couple of bucks to get 6 or 7 patterns as opposed to paying $5 for one. So there's that.
Aww. It's so cute.
It is pretty cute.
I like
with its silly one eye. Maybe I can make you one like that. Go on, let me finish this up and then I'll get you guys dinner. I'm glad you like it. So that is all of the stuff that I already have that I have to put tags on, and I'm planning on making even more stuff in the next week and a half and a day or two. Yeah, because today's Tuesday, so about a week and a half now until the show. Anyway, so I'm gonna cut it here. I hope you enjoyed seeing all the stuff that I've been making for pretty much the last year. And that just goes to show that if you're not giving it all away to charity and selling it instantly, it tends to build up more than you think that it does. So I'm gonna go get the kids some dinner and get myself something to eat so that I can get a bunch of tags printed, get a bunch of things tagged, and get this edited and hopefully uploaded tonight. So thank you so much for watching, everybody. Thanks to all my new subscribers. Thanks to all of my been around since the dawn of time subscribers, because you're the reason that I keep getting back on camera. So thank you so much for watching yet again, and I will catch you all in the next video. Bye!